And the law passed in 2017. They started functioning in 2018. He was one of the commissioners, and he resigned. And then he became Attorney General. But look at this. But look at this. This is the second affidavit, people. So if somebody says this is the second, what I tell you that there's a first. It's number one, right? This is the second affidavit of Craig Beresford. And who is Craig Beresford? Craig Beresford is in charge of the Information and Complaints section of the Integrity Commission. He's the man responsible for looking at all of the statutory declarations. And whenever there are problems, he's the man that he and his department, they're the ones that you have to sit down with and deal with. And when you can't deal with them and there's a problem, then he will make a referral to the commission and to the gentleman in charge of investigation. So, we could go down there now. So we don't see the first one, This is the second one. I'd love to see the first one. We could go down now. There is the fourth defendant, the Attorney General, the Prime Minister's friend. He's a defendant. But if you look up here, you see how who file it. The first to the third defendants. Them therefore the Prime Minister's friend, because them can't trust him. Them can't talk strategy but with him. They can't. I wouldn't. Knowing his history, I wouldn't. Look, it has nothing to do with his honesty. It has everything to do with being careful. I know the relationship between this man and the Prime Minister. I'm not going to have any strategic discussions with him about this case.
Too close to home.
Yeah. I'm going to leave him out. Now, let's go down a little bit now. I am going to show you a paragraph that is the single most significant paragraph in all of this document. This document talks about the Prime Minister's involvement with Estate Bridge, Positive Media, Imperium, a whole bunch of taxi companies. It talks about a whole bunch of relationships, talks about money flying here, money flying there, money going here, money go. But to me, and I'm putting on my legal cap now, to me, the most significant paragraph in all of this is this one. This, to me, is the most significant paragraph.
Yes.
You see it said? It says, generally, to determine a declarant's net worth, meaning to determine a politician's net worth and or a civil servant's net worth, and the changes to it, all, not some, all assets, liabilities, and income must be declared or identified. The source of funds must also be identified or provided by the civil servant and or third parties. The omission of any of this information will result in an incorrect calculation of the declarant's net worth, and consequently, I, Craig Beresford, would not be able to accurately determine whether there is growth or decline that may require explanation. They're talking about unjust enrichment. No, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here is a key part of it. In essence, the statutory declaration would be false, and omissions. These are the key sentences, This is a key paragraph. This is a key sentence. And omissions would impact past.
That's right there.
People, want to see where the man are, see where the man go with this. Would impact past and also impact future net worth calculations. What I tell you now is that when we get all the information, it may require us to go back and look at what was provided. Now, here's a question I have to ask. The question I started asking myself was this: is there a provision in the Integrity Commission Act that deals with decertification? That says if somebody's statutory declaration is certified and you get information years later, can you then go back and say, I'm going to decertify it because you didn't give me, you didn't fill out the... Go ahead, Kevin.
No, finish your statement.
You didn't give us the information. You didn't give us the information, and therefore we cannot accurately and correctly determine your net wealth. We can't do it. Go ahead.
Let's argue this out a little bit using the same paragraph.
Yes.
If this key sentence here holds true, the statutory declaration would be false, and omissions would impact past and also impact future net worth calculations. If then something that is certified based on false information, how certified is it?
Well, here's how I would answer that question. Because the law is silent. The law doesn't say if you give us bad information and blah, 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 and we certify you, and then we determine that, years later that you gave us bad information, we're going to decertify you. So that's not certified. What I think they're saying here is that, no, what we're going to do, we're going to charge you. But even if you charge the person, you still have a certified declaration that you have to deal with. So are you going to decertify? You're going to charge you because you didn't give us the correct information, and you haven't given us the correct information, and therefore we can't determine. So therefore we can't certify you, and we're going to charge you. It's silent on it. It's silent. So I suspect that under the law, what they would do, they can't. But here's the thing. Here's what I would do if I were on the commission. I would say, you know what? The hell with this. We're going to decertify it. Make him take us to court and then make we argue in a court.
Yes.
We are going to, because that's the right thing to do. We are going to decertify him and say, no.
That's kind of where I am at. But the way you're explaining it now make it sound like it's a double jeopardy kind of a situation.
I would, well, just to clear it up, I would decertify it. I would say, look, the law is silent. Well, guess what? I am going to interpret it as saying that if you provide us with false information and we certify your statutory declaration and we find out later on, then we're going to determine it. We're going to decertify until you can come and give us the information, or give us the information. If you can't give us the information, we're going to decertify it. So you know what that would mean for the Prime Minister. Want to see where we'll go with it? The Prime Minister is in jeopardy of his 20. All right, hold on. Let me go back. Hold on. Keep that sentence. Keep that in mind. Let me go down right and show them something else. Look at it. Look what the CM Craig Beresford said. Him said, I recommended the Prime Minister's statutory declaration for 2019 and 2020 for certification. Right? Then look at, let me take it to paragraph 16. Look at 16. Following these exchanges, I concluded the examination of Mr. Onus's statutory declarations for 2019 and 2020, and they were certified. And subsequently summaries were gazetted and published respectively on November 27, 2020 and January 10, 2022. So they certified them. And remember the first document I showed you? They said, we are investigating 2019 and 2020. And that was in 2024. And if you go back here and you see what the man said, paragraph 6. Right there. Him said, if your statutory declaration falls, and in essence, if you give us bad information, your statutory declaration would be false and omissions would impact past. So we're going back.
Yes.
That was what I was saying. As you argued it seemed like it could be a double jeopardy where you can't try somebody for murder twice.
Right. Right.
So
But this is different though, because here's what happened with this. There is no statute of limitations on this. Further, there's no statute of limitations either, but there's none on this. So if you corruption, there's no statute of limitation on corruption in Jamaica. And this is the anti-corruption body. So if you provide false information to them, they can't say, well, then yes, it's 3 years, and so therefore, all right, we're not going to chase it. What would happen is that the argument, the prime minister, well, no, make no argument for him. We leave it right.
Come on, no.
Well said, Ratty. Well said. No free legal advice.
If we're going across the board here, then it's only fair.
I'm not giving them any advice.
Don't give me, please.
I'm telling you, paragraph 6 is the most critical paragraph because it signals to the public, signals to the prime minister that listen, we have problems. No, when you did it in 2019, 2020, we didn't have any problems. But in 2021, we started having problems with 2021. And you can't explain. And as a result of that, 2021 came from 2020 and 2020 came from 2019. So because you've given us bad information, we have to go back and look at these things. And then another thing he said, listen, until we settle 2021, there is no certification to be provided or given to the statutory declarations for 2022 and 2023. He said, you must resolve 2021. And what he never says that we are look on 2019 and 2020. And it look
Ratty, yes. Wouldn't this be a scenario? Because I'm looking at this because I've seen the affidavit, and I've also looked at summaries of the affidavit as well. But when you look at so what was the ace? And I want to remind Jamaican people, what was the ace in July or July of 2020 to certify the prime minister? Remember, when he was about to run against Peter Phillips started bringing up again his certification.
Right.
What did he do? He hurriedly pushed through some information, sent it to the Integrity Commission, and his statutory declarations in that period, 2019 to 2020, was published and gazetted in the Cleaner, because I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah. However, omissions. Let me just take it from a banking point of view, because the law I don't know well. I know banking very well. If a client comes to me, Ratty, and says to me, brother, I want to open an account with your bank. I say, okay. Tell me what's your source of funds.